I can tell when. I think we'll get started. Good evening. My name is William Watkins. I am Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, and I will serve as your narrator this evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2012 Freshman Convocation of California State University Northridge. May I ask that you all please rise for our national anthem performed by the CSUN Jazz A Band.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. Please be seated. Tonight, a distinguished platform party has been assembled to welcome you as the newest members of our campus community as we embark upon this, the 6th annual Freshman Convocation. I ask that you hold your applause until the entire platform party and special guests have been introduced. I ask that each of you on the platform rise as I call your name and please remain standing. From my right to my left, Vice President for Administration and Finance, Mr. Tom McCarran, Faculty President, Mr. Steven Stepanek, Vice President for Information Technology, Ms. Hillary Baker, Associated Students President, Ms. Sydney Powell, President of our university, Dr. Diane Harrison, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Harry Hellenbrand. Our keynote speaker, author, Chitra Divakaruni. Vice President for University Advancement, Dr. Vance Peterson. CSUN Alumni Association President, Mr. Dennis DeYoung. President's Chief of Staff, Dr. Barbara Gross. Executive Director of the University Corporation, Mr. Rick Evans. In the back row, Associate Dean, Mike Kerb, College of Arts, Media, and Communication, Daniel Hoskin. Dean, College of Business and Economics, Dr. William Jennings. Dean, Michael D. Eisner College of Education, Dr. Michael Spagna. Dean, College of Engineering and Computer Science, Dr. S. K. Ramesh. Dean, College of Health and Human Development, Dr. Sylvia Alva. Dean, College of Humanities, Dr. Elizabeth Say. Dean, College of Science and Mathematics, Dr. Jerry Stinner. Dean, College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, Dr. Stella Theodoulou. And finally, Dean, Oviatt Library, and this evening's mace bearer, Dr. Mark Stover. Please join me in thanking our distinguished group. You may be seated. I'd also like to take this opportunity to introduce and thank all of the associate deans who have served as honor marshals for this ceremony, members of our faculty who are some in regalia and others seated with students, all of our campus department chairs, members of the Student Affairs and Academic Affairs Division administrative teams, and the student leaders of the Associated Students and University Student Union. Thank you all for your participation tonight. Let's give them all a great cheer. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce our president, Dr. Diane Harrison.
Well, welcome, freshman class, to Freshman Convocation. And this is a very exciting time for me, and I hope for you as well. I saw most of you when I attended your orientation, which I enjoyed, and now it's nice to see you again. And I want to remind you one more time, please. We're all new this year, so we have that bond, and please remind me that we started together. And especially when I see you around campus or hopefully in 4 years from now at commencement, right here again. You've been in class for not quite 2 weeks. I hope that these have been a good 2 weeks for you, but I want to reinforce the importance of what you can do to ensure a positive experience here. As I told most of you at orientation, go to class. Keep up with your reading. Do your assignments. Take the time to become familiar with all of the great things that this campus and this university has to offer. Get to know the faculty. Get to know the staff. Make connections with them. Introduce yourself. Make sure you know their names. Our university faculty and staff can help answer any questions that you have or help you with some challenge. There is support for you here. The faculty, the department chairs, the deans and advisors are all here to help you achieve your academic goals. Our staff in our academic affairs areas and student affairs and all of our student support services are incredibly helpful, and we all want you to succeed. I'm looking forward to the rest of this semester. I hope you have a great first semester and a great first year. Again, I look forward to seeing you back here, right at this spot, in 4 years when you march across at your commencement. Who knows? Maybe some of you will graduate in 3 years. Surprise us. I know your families would appreciate that. So now I want to turn the microphone back to Vice President Watkins, who's going to introduce our student speaker.
Oh, come on, give a better cheer for our new president here. Let's give her a Matador welcome. That's Northridge. Each year at this event, a student or recent graduate is selected to share his or her insights into how students create successful university life here at CSUN. These student speakers are chosen for their exemplary scholarship, meaningful involvement on campus and in the community, and for their insights into the Matador life. We hope that you aspire one day to be a student speaker here. Our student speaker tonight is Ms. Sydney Powell, your Associated Students President. Sydney is a psychology major with plans to study cognitive ergonomics, and you must have her explain that to you before you leave. But she wants to go on and do graduate study in that field. Before becoming the Associated Students President last spring, she served as AS's Vice President. She has served also on the board of directors of both the University Student Union and the Resident Hall Association. She is currently a member of the board for the CSUN Foundation and the University Corporation. In addition, Sydney has statewide responsibilities as Vice Chair for Internal Affairs of the California State Student Association. She is also a sister of Delta Delta sorority. Join me now in welcoming our speaker, Sydney Powell.
Welcome, Matadors. Can I get a big Olay for everyone here tonight? Olay. This evening and your presence is a testament to the pride and spirit that everyone has at this university. I am now in my final year as a Matador, and I've come to reflect about my time here. A few years ago, I was driven by fear of failure. My successes were driven by that. Everything I did in my life was driven by it. I had fear that my parents wouldn't be proud of me, fear that I would be alone, fear that I was wasting my time, wasting my potential. I am now at a point in my academic career that fear no longer tells me how to live my life. I'm no longer afraid of failure, but I'm aware of it. I know it exists, I know it will come, and I prepare for it. Matadors, don't fear the bulls in your life. If you're ever afraid, call upon the image of our mascot. Matadors don't fear the bull, they tease the bull. They infuriate it. The bull constantly comes after the matador, but the matador sidesteps it with grace, waving its cape in triumph. In traditional bullfights, the bull is seen as a worthy adversary, and it's never thought that one opponent is greater than the other. Both the matador and the bull are equal in strength, endurance, and skill. The struggles in your life are these bulls. They're intimidating at first, I know, but not without opportunities to overcome them. There are a lot of things that come as being a new student at CSUN. Free food, free shirts, free dance parties, almost free concerts, and that's just the tangible stuff. But being new means new beginnings and friendships and literally 1,000,001 opportunities available to you. How many of you actually know the person you're sitting next to? Well, snaps to you all, and if you don't, then you now have a new friend. I've actually been where you are, and my seat was right over there, and I didn't know a soul. But that's the great thing about this journey, is that there are 4,000 of you, and you're all doing it together. And I promise you, really, it's not that weird to go up to somebody else and ask them to go out. I bet you that they're asking you to come and ask them to do the same thing. And so you'll have to decide if you want to be that person that's praying to baby Maddie that they'll come with you, or you can be that person that's praying to baby Maddie that they'll just say yes. Throughout the newness of it all, you'll also be faced with difficult decisions. Some, like deciding if you want to study for an important midterm or going to the kickback. What's different now is that it's only you that will determine which is the right decision. Ask yourself if you're doing it because it's right, and if it's something that benefits you. Now let's get something straight. I'm not advocating for selfishness. It's just that caregivers need care too. After a series of asking myself why I'm even doing this whole student government thing, I realized that this was my life. It was my college experience. It was mine, and I'm yours. You are all my boss. As student body president, there is no one I answer to but you. Every student that pays the CSUN tuition and fees is a member of the Associated Students. And while every day I remind myself that I'm in the business of servant leadership, every night the doors lock and the lights come down. In that moment, I work for me. I get my homework done, I watch Vampire Diaries, I'll shoot my friends or my parents a text. But what's important is that I try to make sure that when my alarm goes off in the morning, I'm ready and energized to take on the day. I can't take care of you if I don't take care of me. And you all must do the same. Join clubs, organizations, join Greek life, do community service, take a professional breathing class, whatever floats your boat. But take some time to reflect on why you're doing it. College is a time for self-discovery, or self-creation, whichever philosophy you like to take. But I'm personally a woman of few extremes and a frequent traveler of the middle way. I was able to find and develop my leadership skills in the various organizations I joined that Dr. Watkins so kindly listed. But honestly, after a while, I just got bored. And I sat down and I wondered how a person that did so much got so bored. I was performing mundane tasks, fulfilling obligations, but what's all that if I'm not meaningfully engaged? I begged the question, why? Why am I here? Why am I doing all of this? At one point, I realized that I had forgotten why I was doing leadership, and I decided that I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself, something that was just grandiose. And that's when I went Greek. I rushed to sorority, I found my sisters, I aligned myself with a purpose that told me to steadfastly love one another, devote myself to moral and democratic principles, and to assist its members in every possible way. Yeah, snaps for my sisters. In my sisterhood, I've been able to live and learn about unselfish leadership and what it means to depend on others, but also have others depend on me. I can honestly say that I've developed a stronger and more womanly character alongside my sisters. Building a relationship with them has allowed me to take pride in being a strong and educated woman. Associated Students has had 65 presidents, 66 if I include myself, but only 8 have been women. The first woman president was elected in 1981, and I am now, in this year, only the second, and well, this year was the first that we had 2 female presidents back to back. So let's just say I'm pretty proud of that. And so, besides a sense of camaraderie at this university, one of the best gifts that you can give yourself is to take a walk around this campus and wear some rose-colored glasses. And you got some, so just put them on for a second. And people hear the phrase rose-colored glasses and think of naivety and a sense of idealism with no backing of realism. It's usually perceived as a piece of jewelry that only young and foolish people wear. Well, I'm still young and foolish, and I like to wear them. So CSUN shines with success and collaboration and history and spirit. Relish in all the tradition this campus has and will continue to create. You all have taken the first step by being here tonight. The Matador's cape is in a constant state of undulation. It is constantly in a state of motion, of change, of transition. And you are all a part of CSUN history, where transition is normal, expected, and welcomed. The cape moves at the command of the Matador with brisk flicks of power and displays of courage. But when the cape is most gracious and peaceful and rippling with beauty, is with the help of the wind. And you can see it's moving my cat back. So this university, this library, your peers are the wind beneath your cape. You all are in charge of your own cape. Take it where you will and display it where you wish, but it is the help of others, the wind, that your cape displays the most beauty and victory and tranquility. CSUN is one of those places where it takes every matador to make a difference. Be able to take help, but also be willing to give it too. Matadors are courageous, but they are not reckless. Matadors are proud, but they are not arrogant. Matadors are cautious, but they're not fearful. Matadors are people like you and people like me, and we are resilient. There's a new tradition on campus that came as a result of the creation of the Matador statue. Anytime there's a victory, big or small, if there's a momentous occasion, a moment you want to commemorate, we toss a rose at that Matador statue to say thank you. We mark the beginning or the end of something great. So don't forget to throw a rose for yourself or even one for your peers. And knowing the people that go here, I should expect a couple dozen roses a day. So I wish you all the best of luck at Cal State Northridge, and I hope that you all will come to love this university just as much as I have. And welcome to the arena, Matadors. Thank you.
I'm Harry Hellenbrand, and I'm the provost. Sydney, that was an amazing story. Guests and students, like most other living things, we humans do not much like sudden change. Yeah, I know, we enjoy a good thriller when a chainsaw suddenly grinds through a screen door and chews up a few bawdy college students. And yes, we admire the sudden transformation of a saint by a bolt of lightning, but we easily bracket those experiences as exceptional and not everyday reality. In our own real lives, we prefer the smooth ascent of imperceptible change, with achievements rising to meet reasonable expectations. We think of life as an escalator. First floor, parents immigrate. Mezzanine, they work hard. Second floor, their children, us, go to college. Third floor, the family rises in status. For centuries, scientists believed that the Earth barely changed. Seashells high in the Andes, the understanding of change did not allow for that. But today's speaker, Chitra Divakaruni, urges us to think of change quite differently. Change is Katrina, a reeling hurricane at the heart of our lives. Change churns up one amazing thing after another. Change punctuates days, years of calm with minutes, sometimes milliseconds of shatter and splinter. Change can caress us, but its phantom fades when we reach out to embrace it. Change destroys what we know. Change creates anew. Change is Shiva. There is no end. In one amazing thing, an earthquake unexpectedly changes alienated individuals into a group of storytellers. What winds whirled them together? A father impetuously called his daughter. A war parted young lovers. A kitten rubbed against the young boy's ankle. 9/11 gashed the community. Who could predict or reconstruct the changes that produced the amazing thing that is each of these lives and their collective lives together? What swerves have brought us here today, and who could create those? Winner of many literary prizes and writer of many books and stories, Chitra has written a fable for all time, but especially for our time. Think of it this way. The water is rising, the air is getting more noxious and poisoned, the roof is about to cave in. People want a way out, but that job demands that they behave like a clan and a family. There is no incantation to make people change into this clan. Instead, people must share stories of amazing change. They, we, maybe can see the common hurt. Can we change that hurt into a most amazing thing, the common good? That is the question ever before you in college. Help me to welcome our speaker today, Chitra Divakaruni.
Thank you. It is just a pleasure for me to be here with you today on this very exciting day. This is the beginning of an exciting time in your lives, 4 exciting years leading to a great achievement. And I am so happy to be here and to look out at all of you in this moment of great opportunity and great change. I'm happy also because I can really relate to you. Just this year, I sent off a son to college. He's also a freshman back in Texas where I live. So I can feel a little bit of the excitement that you're feeling, and maybe some of that nervousness also. And I can think back and remember very clearly when I was a freshman like you. Well, that was a few years back. Well, okay, a few decades back. But I remember very clearly how college transformed my life. What a wonderful opportunity it was to learn about the world. It opened up parts of the world, of this universe that I didn't ever think of before I went to college, that I didn't even know existed. It taught me so much about the people I came across in college. And in turn, they taught me so much about myself. And I think that's the great opportunity of college. If you allow it, it will transform you and it will teach you so much about yourself. I'm also very honored that my novel, One Amazing Thing, has been chosen for the freshman reading program. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about how I came to write this novel and what were some thoughts I had as I wrote it, and what are some of my hopes for you as you read it. And generally, as a writer, I'm always looking for stories. But one amazing thing, that idea came to me on a day when I wasn't thinking about writing at all. In fact, all I was thinking of was saving my life and the lives of my family. Because that was a day just about 7 years ago when a big hurricane was coming right at Houston, Hurricane Rita. And this was only a few weeks after Hurricane Katrina had devastated New Orleans. So the city authorities in Houston took this hurricane very seriously. And they were very concerned. And they told us to evacuate Houston. So my husband and I packed up our children in our car, and very obediently we got on the interstate to leave Houston and go to San Antonio. And this was around 8 p.m. at night. But I want you to imagine what might happen when 4 million people are trying to evacuate a city all at once. Well, nobody gets anywhere. So around 2 a.m., we were still stuck on the interstate, and we were getting very nervous because we could hear on our radios that Rita was coming straight at us. And there was no place to go. The freeway was completely impacted. People were running out of gas. Cars were overheating. Tempers were overheating. People were very nervous because they were packed in this small place with strangers, people they didn't know and they didn't trust. And people started getting out of their cars because it was so hot. And people started getting into arguments and even into fist fights. There was a lot of bad behavior going around. Well, you know, in my own car with my husband, we had our own bad behavior going, but I won't get into that right now. But I noticed that not everybody was behaving badly. I noticed that there were a few people who were going through the crowds, and they were trying to calm people down. They were trying to share food and water. They were trying to help the elderly. And that's when the writer part of my brain clicked on. And I thought to myself, how amazing. Here are so many of us falling apart under pressure, but here are some who are the embodiments of grace. And what allows a person to do that? And it seemed to me that that was a question well worth analyzing and looking at closely, because maybe not all of us will be faced by a natural disaster like a hurricane, but I'm sure all of us have already been or will certainly be in situations where our life seems to us like it's going out of control. It's not in our power to do what we want for it. And it's important to know how to rise to that occasion and be that embodiment of grace under pressure. So I said to myself, well, if Rita doesn't come right at us today and wipe us off the face of the earth, I will write a book exploring this issue. And that book, since Rita decided to swerve away from Houston, that book became one amazing thing. In the writing of it, though, the book changed its nature because I'm a fiction writer. When I write, I find that I have to fictionalize settings and characters. So as some of you know already, the crisis in the book is an earthquake. The setting in the book is an unnamed city in the US. And the actual immediate setting is the basement of a high-rise building, the Indian embassy, the visa office, where a group of strangers have come to get visas because they all want to go to India. And while they're there, the earthquake strikes. It's a major earthquake. They're trapped in the basement. Electricity is gone, phone lines gone, no cell phones. Water is rising. They think they smell gas. They know their lives are in great danger. And just like the people on the interstate, they're trapped in a place with people they don't know, people that are very different from them, different races, different economic backgrounds, and they don't trust these people. So in their panic, they begin to turn on each other. There's a lot of bad behavior, there's some fighting, and after a particularly bad fist fight, chunks of the ceiling start coming down. And then one of the characters, her name is Uma, and she's a student, just like you, she says, look, we're going to destroy ourselves. We figured out that we can't get out of this place. So instead of fighting with each other, let's focus on something more positive. Let's tell each other a story, something that we've never told anyone, an important story out of our lives. Well, immediately everyone thinks this is a terrible idea. They're like, we're about to die and you want us to tell you a story? And one of the characters says, I don't think I even have a story. I don't have a story to tell you. And then Uma says back to her, I don't believe that. I believe that everyone has at least one amazing thing. So here I was writing, going along, and the words were kind of coming to me. And when I wrote that sentence, something happened. It was like an electric current went through my body. And I understood that this was really important, that I'd just written something that was the heart of this novel. And I hadn't figured it out, because for me, often, writing is an act of discovery. I figure things out as I write them. And so I started thinking about this. Why would she say that our stories are so important and that all of us have amazing stories? And then I flashed back to about a month before the evacuation, when I had been volunteering at a center in Houston that was set up to help the victims of the Katrina hurricane, many of whom had come to Houston. And so I was doing intake at this center. I was talking to people, helping them fill out forms, figuring out what had happened to them and what they needed most and how to get that to them. And I remembered that although just about everybody who had come there had suffered the same traumatic event, the responses were very different. Some people were really angry. Some people were totally unhappy and traumatized. Some people were just desolate because they'd lost everything. But some people were taking it in stride. And they also had lost a great deal, but they were looking ahead to what they could do now. They had come to terms with their tragedy. And I realized that in almost every case, it was the people who, when I asked them, what happened to you? It was the people who could tell me their story that were able to cope with their tragedy. The people who could share that story immediately felt closer to me and I to them, and they had hope that this new community into which they had been thrust out of no desire of their own would become a community and would be able to help them. The sharing of the story did something amazing. And I remembered at this point what the great African writer Chinua Achebe had said once. He had written, "It is only the story that saves us from blundering like blind beggars into the spikes of the cactus fence. It is only the story that saves us." And I realized that at the heart of One Amazing Thing, the novel, had to be these stories that people would say. And I didn't know what these stories were going to be. And I discovered them as I went along. So very tentatively, the people trapped in this basement begin to tell each other their stories. And as they do that, something miraculous happens. And I'm not referring to whether they get saved or not. You'll have to read to the end of the book to figure that out. But what happens that's amazing is that where in the beginning they didn't trust each other, they didn't care for each other, they wanted to survive no matter what happened to the others, now they care for each other's well-being because they see each other as people. The stories have humanized them to each other, and they have become a community. So, as I look out at you, in front of me, behind me, all around, I know this. I know that all of you have your story, at least one amazing thing, possibly many more. Some of you have had these amazing things already happen to you. For many of you, these will happen in the next 4 years as you undertake an exciting university education. But what happens sometimes is that as we're very busy, as we get increasingly more involved in our daily lives and all of the little things that make up our daily lives, we lose track of these stories. We don't recognize them. We don't value them. And so this is my wish for all of you, this is my hope for all of you, that you will be on the lookout for these stories. And I've already been hearing some amazing stories since I came to campus today, that you will be on lookout for these amazing stories, and you will treasure them, you will cherish them, and you will share them at the right time with people. Because it's the sharing of these stories that will make miraculous things happen in your lives. And this is also my hope, that as you share your stories with others, you will be listening to other people, and you'll be encouraging them to share their stories. Especially people, maybe, that are not like you, people that you wouldn't otherwise feel a connection to. As you listen to their stories, it is my hope that you will discover that you do share a common experience, the deep and powerful experience of being human. Stories are a wonderful way in our world, which is so divided. We are so divided by race and color and financial class and wars and different ideologies. These are all things that tend to separate us. But when we truly listen to each other's stories, we realize how much we have in common as the human race. We realize that as human beings, we all really want the same things. So, share your stories, enjoy your stories, cherish your stories. Maybe one day I'll read about these stories, because our stories are what will transform strangers into friends and our tragedies into triumphant adventures. All the best to you as you start on this triumphant adventure today.
Thank you so much for your remarks this evening and for being our distinguished speaker at the 2012 Freshman Convocation. Our speaker is also going to take some time at the end of Convocation this evening to sign copies of her book, if you happen to have that with you. The goal in inviting prominent authors and speakers to our campus is always to inspire reflection and discussion among our students and our campus community on the important issues that affect us all. I am confident that your remarks this evening will provide lots of grist for discussion both in classrooms and outside. And I think even if you go up to someone you don't know and simply ask them to tell a little bit of their story to you, that's a good opening line now. It's great. Thank you for that inspiration. In appreciation for your participation, I am pleased to present you with a memento that will remind you of your visit to our campus. It's beautiful. Yes. Thank you very much. Our sincere thanks. I also want to extend our special thanks as well to Sydney Powell. Please join me at the microphone, Sydney. And this is for your participation as well as our speaker. Thank you. Sydney is a powerful example of student success. And so I appreciate your sharing your experiences here with all of our freshmen. So at this time, I would ask that the entire platform party please stand. That is great.
So welcome again, Matadors. And I'm pretty sure you all practice the alma mater, right? Yeah? Okay. I don't believe you. It's on the back of your freshman convocation pamphlet, and so I'll be singing it together. But we want to sing the song with a little bit of help. So, is the Jazz A Band ready to go? Okay. And the freshmen, would you mind standing for me? Orientation leaders, are you ready? Akasola, are you ready? And how about all you freshmen? You ready to go? One more time. Are you ready to go? All right. And so we'll be singing this song for a very special reason today. It is President Harrison's first time hearing it from all of you. So if you would kindly sing to President Harrison, we may all begin. All right, Jazz A Band, whenever you're ready.
Hail to all the matadors and to our school so dear as we move along the road of life. Let us keep from doubt or fear, from knowledge which we find here. For all who urge us on, the spirit of the red and white will brighten every dawn. Where the sun is shining and where truth leads an open door. To honor strong and courage tall, we hail our matador.
Wow, that was pretty good. Thank you. And thank you, freshman class of 2012. Please be seated for just a short time more. I know, but not the platform party. I hope that you all did enjoy that performance. You will be hearing the alma mater more during the coming years. You already hear it chiming on the university carillon, and it will mark the recession of this and other university events. Mr. Richard Kaufman wrote it to inspire pride and spirit in our campus, and I hope it inspires you all. At this time, I want to acknowledge and thank the many persons who have made this event possible. Professor Matt Harris and the CSUN Jazz A Band. Also, a large number of brass musicians from our music department. Thank you. Akasola, our singers. Members of our campus staff who have staged this incredible ceremony. And please join me in thanking the new student orientation leaders. Yes. And the university housing resident assistants. All of whom have worked so hard over the last months to prepare for you, our newest matadors, for your freshman year ahead. And I really want to ask the new student orientation leaders and all of the resident advisors to stand one more time because you have done such an amazing job for us. Thank you. Stand and let us thank you. And finally, to the members of our Freshman Convocation Committee, I hope that all of you will join us at the conclusion of this event, which is just another minute or so, for a reception on the south portico of the Oviatt Library. Who knows where the south portico is? There you go. I said, where's the south portico? It's right up there. Just follow us up the stairs. It's going to be very nice. So, now I'm going to turn my last comments back to the freshman class. It is my hope that this convocation this evening has given you a greater insight into the opportunities that lie ahead of you here at Cal State Northridge. You're going to find many, many opportunities in the university classrooms, in the extracurricular activities, and in the many programs which benefit our community. I hope you will find new friends and mentors who will support you and support your personal growth and academic success. I hope that this convocation has also nurtured your commitment and desire to succeed and has helped instill some pride in you in our university. On behalf of the entire campus, I welcome you. I challenge each and every one of you to remember the resolve that I hope you carry with you this evening to succeed. As we close the convocation, you will walk with us up these stairs to our library tonight, the South Portico, to join our campus as a community of scholars with a deep commitment to gaining knowledge and using it to help shape a world that is better for all of us. My very best wishes to each and every one of you for your success at Cal State Northridge. I now conclude the 2012 Freshman Convocation, and hail to the Matadors!